We're live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Modi terms the year of 2026 a turning point for India-Europe ties, says India-France transforming partnership into a partnership of the people. On the third day of India AI Impact Summit, high-stakes leaders meet and greet event to take place. Prime Minister Modi to hold bilateral talks with visiting world leaders. President of India Draupadi Murmu to participate in the International Fleet Review 2026 in Visakhapatnam. Fleets from across the world stand in position to sail together. Iran and US agree to guiding principles for nuclear deal in Geneva. Next round of talks to be scheduled. Ukraine-Russia hold peace talks in Geneva as Trump puts pressure on Kyiv to act fast and reach a deal to end a four-year conflict. Zelensky calls it unfair. And on to the details now. India and France have elevated their partnership to a new level. The sense was reflected during the summit between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and French President Emmanuel Macron in Mumbai on Tuesday, where they held wide-ranging talks on issues of mutual and international importance. DD India's Akhilesh Suman reports for more.
Calling France one of India's oldest strategic partners, Prime Minister Modi said the two leaders have injected new depth and energy into the relationship. On Tuesday in Mumbai, after the summit, both leaders said that partnership has been elevated to a special global strategic partnership.
फ्रांस भारत के सबसे पुराने स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनर्स में से एक है और प्रेसिडेंट मैक्रो के साथ मिलकर हमने इस स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप को अभूतपूर्व गहराई और ऊर्जा दी है। इस विश्वास और साझा विजन के आधार पर आज हम अपने संबंधों को स्पेशल ग्लोबल स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप के रूप में स्थापित कर रहे हैं। ये पार्टनरशिप केवल स्ट्रेटेजिक नहीं है। आज के उथल-पुथल से भरे युग में यह ग्लोबल स्टेबिलिटी और ग्लोबल प्रोग्रेस की पार्टनरशिप है।
A major highlight of the summit was the inauguration of the H-125 helicopter assembly line in India. More than 20 agreements were signed covering defense production, innovation, trade, connectivity, and people-to-people ties. The launch of the India-France Year of Innovation aims to transform the strategic partnership into a partnership of the people. New joint innovation centers will be established. Startups and MSMEs will be connected. Both sides announced cooperation in critical minerals, biotechnology, and advanced materials. On the global stage, French President Emmanuel Macron stressed that the India-France partnership is rooted in trust and democratic values.
The bilateral relationship between India and France is truly remarkable and unique. This relationship is one of trust, openness, and ambition. We have also decided today to elevate this partnership to a special strategic partnership, granting it a new status. There is no doubt about that because we have complete faith in this relationship and we have been doing so for the past 8 years.
India will soon open a Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center in France, further strengthening the people-to-people bonds. Akhilesh Suman's report for DD India from Mumbai.
And Prime Minister Modi and President Macron jointly inaugurated the India-France Year of Innovation. This initiative will galvanize joint efforts focused on deepening talent mobility, startup collaboration and high-impact innovation, with year-round engagements across both countries to turn shared ideas into action. The leaders also launched an India-France Innovation Network, which will bring together businesses, startups, innovators, academia and research institutions of the two countries. While addressing the forum, Prime Minister Modi said that India is home to more than 120 unicorns and that now the nation is among the third largest startup ecosystems.
स्टार्टअप इंडिया प्रोग्राम से एक दशक में ही भारत दुनिया का तीसरा सबसे बड़ा स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम बन चुका है। 2014 में भारत में जहां सिर्फ 4 यूनिकॉर्न थे, आज भारत में 120 से अधिक यूनिकॉर्न्स हैं। इनकी टोटल वैल्यू $350 बिलियन से अधिक या लगभग 300 बिलियन यूरो है। आज दुनिया की करीब करीब हर बड़ी टेक्नोलॉजी कंपनी भारत के स्टार्टअप, भारत के इनोवेशन से किसी न किसी रूप में जुड़ी हुई है।
Well, Prime Minister Modi invited world leaders and innovators, investors to join India in building a future where technology serves humanity.
मैं फ्रांस और पूरे विश्व के लीडर्स, सीईओज, इन्वेस्टर्स और यूनिवर्सिटीज को आमंत्रित करता हूं। आइए भारत के साथ मिलकर ऐसा भविष्य बनाएं जहां टेक्नोलॉजी मानवता की सेवा करे और प्रगति समावेशी हो।
While addressing the forum, President Macron said that India not just participates in global innovation, rather leads it. He also outlined 3 ambitions on innovation for this year.
3 ambitions for 2026. First, to better connect our ecosystems in order to make life easier for researchers, entrepreneurs, students, investors who are willing to develop partnerships. Second, to multiply concrete projects that help us tackle the challenges of our time: climate, health, food security, clean mobility. Finally, we must ensure that this momentum continues well beyond 2026. And this is our common ambition. We must make this year of innovation the starting point for an unprecedented level of integration between our two knowledge-based economies.
Well, India and France also strengthened their defence ties at the annual India-France Defence Dialogue held in Bengaluru. Prime Minister Modi and President Macron virtually unveiled the H-125 helicopter assembly line near Bengaluru in the Indian state of Karnataka, even as Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and his French counterpart Catherine Vautrin took stock of bilateral cooperation in defence. DD India's Rabindra Chauhan has more on this.
The world witnessed a milestone on Tuesday when Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the French President Emmanuel Macron digitally unveiled the final assembly line of the H-125 helicopters in Bengaluru. The facility has been set up in Vemagal by Tata Advanced Systems Limited in partnership with Airbus. The milestone was achieved during the 6th India-France Annual Defence Dialogue, which was co-chaired by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and France's Minister of the Armed Forces and Veterans Affairs, Catherine Vautrin, in Bengaluru on Tuesday. The meeting reviewed the full spectrum of bilateral defence cooperation with a focus on expanding industrial collaboration. Addressing the dialogue, Rajnath Singh lauded the private sector's growing role in defence production and highlighted key reforms, including the establishment of defence industrial corridors.
Historically, Indian defence production was largely public sector oriented due to various reasons like requirement of high capital investment and long gestation period. As a result, the contribution of private sector in total defence production and export was less than desirable. However, with a number of reforms like corporatization of ordnance factories, liberalized investment schemes, establishment of the defense industrial corridors, and many such steps. Today, the share of private sector in total defense production stands at almost a quarter of all defense production in the country.
Catherine Vautrin said the achievement reflects the deep India-France strategic partnership, shared priorities and mutual trust.
These achievements show the depth of the India-France strategic partnership. It demonstrates how France's technological capability and India's industrial strength can come together to boost India's Make in India program in aerospace and defense. This project, India's very first private sector helicopter assembly line, it's a concrete expression of trust, shared priorities, and a forward-looking and ambitious relationship.
Meanwhile, the private sector final assembly line, inaugurated jointly by Prime Minister Modi and President Macron, will manufacture the Airbus H-125 helicopters in India, boosting the rotorcraft market in South Asia. The Made in India H-125 will support civil and para-public sectors and meet the Indian Armed Forces' requirements for light multi-role helicopters, especially in Himalayan regions. Defense remains a key pillar of India-France relations. The partnership was further strengthened through high-level exchanges, including PM Modi's participation as guest of honor at France's Bastille Day parade in 2023 and President Macron's visit as chief guest at India's Republic Day parade in 2024. Rabindra Chauhan's report, DD India.
Well, in a joint statement issued by India and France mentioned that both sides are upgrading ties to a special global strategic partnership in light of their leadership's aim to not only enhance their economies and security but work collectively towards addressing challenges in an increasingly uncertain global environment and help build a stable rules-based international order. Well, on education, Prime Minister Modi and French President reaffirmed their goal of welcoming 30,000 Indian students to France by the year 2030. The two leaders also welcomed the upcoming visa-free transit facility for internationals through French airports, which will be reviewed after a 6-month pilot period. President Macron invited Prime Minister Modi to participate in the G7 summit in France in 2026. Prime Minister Modi welcomed the invitation and reaffirmed India's commitment to global discussions on economic stability, among other things. Also, President Macron condemned the April 2025 Pahalgam terror attack and the November 2025 incident near Red Fort in New Delhi, expressing support for India's right to defend itself. The two leaders also stressed the need for dialogue on diplomacy in conflicts such as Ukraine, developments in Iran, and the situation in Gaza. Also, the two leaders reaffirmed their commitment to a rules-based order in the Indo-Pacific region and beyond. The elevation of the relationship will strengthen cooperation between the two countries in sectors of the future so as to reinforce their sovereignty and decision-making autonomy and to respond together to the major challenges confronting our world, including through cooperation between India and the European Union. Also, both leaders welcomed the historic summit between India and the EU, during which the negotiations of the India-EU Free Trade Agreement were concluded. The FTA will open opportunities for further economic collaboration between India, France and Europe, ushering in a new era of sustainable prosperity and resilient value chains. Cooperation on common security challenges such as maritime security, cybersecurity, hybrid threats, space and counter-terrorism, and for promoting mutually beneficial defense industrial collaboration. Meanwhile, today on the day 3 of the India AI Impact Summit 2026, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold the high-stakes leaders meet and greet. during which he will meet heads of state, including those from Spain, Finland, Serbia, Croatia, Estonia, Bhutan, Kazakhstan. The aim is to strengthen bilateral ties, discuss ethical AI governance, and foster technological collaboration. The AI Summit witnesses a gathering of 20 heads of state, global tech CEOs, and policymakers. Besides, the summit will witness various sessions on governing safe and responsible AI within digital public infrastructure, AI in education, from innovation to impact, building sovereign deep tech for a resilient future, and accelerating India's AI growth, a blueprint for India's AI success. Estonia head of state and ambassador of Finland to India will be speaking at the sessions. Meanwhile, UK Deputy PM David Lammy arrived at Delhi Airport late on Tuesday night to participate in the India AI Impact Summit. External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Randhir Jaiswal said David Lammy's visit will strengthen the India-UK comprehensive strategic partnership, with a strong focus on trusted, inclusive and responsible artificial intelligence as a driver of innovation, growth and shared prosperity. Earlier, the world leaders from Serbia, Sri Lanka, Guyana and Bolivia arrived in New Delhi for the summit. And moving on now from distant horizons to India's eastern coast, the world's navies will converge in Visakhapatnam today for Maritime Convergence 2026. President Draupadi Murmu is there to participate in the International Fleet Review 2026. As the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, the President will review the ceremonial fleet and witness a spectacular display of India's naval strength and maritime capabilities at the INS Dega Naval Air Station. At the IFR 2026, the world's navies will sail together in a powerful display of unity, partnership and shared commitment to the oceans. This gathering is more than ships and ceremonies. It is a shared vision of peace, cooperation and maritime security. And moving on, the second round of indirect nuclear talks between Iran and the United States concluded in Geneva on Tuesday, with new talks to be scheduled. The negotiations held at Oman's embassy in the Swiss city were mediated by Omani Foreign Minister Badr al-Busaidi, said that the talks concluded with good progress towards identifying common goals and relevant technical issues. Also, U.S. Presidential Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and President Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner represented Washington in the negotiations. Iranian Foreign Minister led a diplomatic and specialized delegation to the talks. Arakchi said the talks were held in a more constructive atmosphere compared to the previous round in Oman. Also, he said that a new window of opportunity has opened after talks with the U.S. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian said that the current talks with the United States are being conducted under the coordination and approval of the Supreme Leader. He said the purpose of negotiations with Washington is to resolve issues seriously, not to engage in dialogue for the sake of dialogue. And Ukraine and Russia concluded the first of 2 days of U.S.-mediated peace talks in Geneva on Tuesday, with U.S. President Donald Trump pressing Kyiv to make peace deal to end the 4-year conflict. Well, in a statement, Ukraine's lead negotiator Rustem Umerov said that the day's talks had focused on practical issues and the mechanics of possible decisions. He said negotiations would resume on Wednesday for a final day, while Russia's state news agency quoted a source as saying the talks between Ukraine and Russia lasted for 6 hours and were very tense. Meanwhile, in a nightly video address, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said U.S. President Donald Trump is exerting undue pressure on Ukraine to make concessions in peace negotiations with Russia, warning that Ukrainians would never accept surrendering more territory. While he added that Russian strikes in Ukraine continued during the talks in Geneva as well. Also, the U.S. military struck 3 alleged drug trafficking vessels in the Eastern Pacific and Caribbean, killing all 11 people on board. U.S. Southern Command posted a video on X. U.S. Southern Command posted a video showing the boats being destroyed along with a statement. Officials said that of the 11 male narco terrorists killed, 4 died on the first vessel in the Eastern Pacific, 4 on a second vessel also in the Eastern Pacific, and 3 on the third vessel in the Caribbean. The strikes bring the death toll from the U.S. military operations up to at least 145 people killed. The Trump administration has carried out more than 40 lethal strikes on alleged drug boats in the Caribbean Sea and Pacific Ocean since September 2025. Well, the third International Ayush Conference and Expo concluded at the Dubai World Trade Center, drawing over 1,500 delegates and nearly 20,000 visitors from 30 countries for 3 days of scientific sessions, policy dialogue and cultural programs. The biennial event was organized by the Science India Forum and the World Ayurveda Foundation with support from India's Ministry of Ayush and the Indian missions in the UAE. The valedictory session was attended by Goa Chief Minister Pramod Sawant, who highlighted the growing global recognition of traditional Indian medicines.
The third International Ayush Conference and Exhibitions 2026 in the UAE. First of all, the congratulations for the World Ayurveda Congress and the Ministry of the Ayush. Always Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, after the formation of the Ayush Ministry, have given the exposure for the Ayush doctors and to practice throughout the globe. Now the Ayurveda is not only the traditional medicine, but which is an evidence-based medicine. And the research is going on throughout India in the different institutions.
Well, the Gulf countries commenced the holy month of Ramadan on Wednesday after crescent moon sighting committees in Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates confirmed the start of Ramadan. Authorities in Qatar and Kuwait also announced February 18th as the first day of fasting, aligning with astronomical calculations. In a statement, the UAE Presidential Court said the decision followed confirmation by the Moon Sighting Committee convened in Abu Dhabi under the UAE Council for Fatwa. And in business news, India's energy Maharatna Bharat Petroleum has achieved a bold stride in offshore engineering, reflecting India's growing Atmanirbharta or self-reliance in fuel logistics in the journey towards energy self-sufficiency under the visionary leadership of Prime Minister Modi. In a demanding intertidal zone where tidal windows constantly shift and precision cannot falter, BPCL completed a 10-inch into 2.3-kilometer offshore sea-to-land horizontal directional drilling pull under the Mumbai Rasayani pipeline project, marking one of India's first offshore HDD crossings of this scale. This achievement reflects the Energy PSU's commitment to advancing technical capability, enhancing infrastructure resilience and delivering complex projects with precision, safety and operational excellence. Kudos to Team BPCL. And in sports, India will lock horns with the Netherlands in their last group match in Ahmedabad on Wednesday. With their Super 8 berth sealed, India might rest some of their key players to test bench strength. On the other hand, the Netherlands will strive to end the campaign on a high note. Did India's Suchitra with a match analysis.
After securing their place in the Super 8 stage of the T20 World Cup, India will face the Netherlands in its final group match in Ahmedabad. Though it is a dead rubber, but no team can be taken lightly. The tournament has already seen some upsets and the Indian team would like to continue its winning streak before the start of the next stage. The men in blue might test their bench strength by resting some of the key players including Jasprit Bumrah. On the other hand, the Netherlands are known to cause upsets. In the 2022 edition, they defeated South Africa and knocked them out of the tournament. In the first match of this edition, the Netherlands put Pakistan in trouble, losing the match by a narrow margin. They won against Namibia but lost against the USA. They will strive for a better performance against India. The two teams faced each other in 2022, which India won by 56 runs in Sydney. India have played 8 T20 matches at the Narendra Modi Stadium, winning 6 and losing 2.
this match against Netherlands is going to be very important for Team India. They would like to test their bench strength. Plus, they have to play their Super 8 match against South Africa in this stadium, and the final can also be played here. So they would like to utilize this match to read the conditions better. And once again, the focus will be on world's #1 T20 batter Abhishek Sharma, who has not yet clicked in this tournament. With camera person SP Dubey, this is Suchitra reporting for DD India in Ahmedabad.
All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.